Hi everyone, thank you for being here. My name is Omar Paul and I'm a product manager at AWS and I focus on the container registry. I am beyond excited to be talking to you today about our new offering, Amazon ECR Public. So let's get to it. Here is an outline of what we will go through in this session. We'll do a quick recap of Amazon ECR, a short discussion on how public container images get used, and then get onto the main course, which is Amazon ECR Public. We'll walk through features, pricing, core user workflows, and how you share and use it. And then we'll close a quick summary of what we spoke about and a call to action, as well as a roadmap of how we see the registry evolving. A quick recap. Most of us are already familiar with this, but two fundamental concepts about containers in the container registry are an image and a registry. And an image is a single immutable artifact that contains everything to run a piece of code. And the registry is your content addressable distribution source where you store and then deploy your images when you start your applications. Right? And this is the core of what we will end up talking about for the rest of the session. Right. A quick recap of what Amazon ECR is and how our customers use it today. Here at AWS, we work backwards from our customers, and I really like starting from that as a way to share what our customers think. This is Blackboard, well known at the intersection of education and technology. They use ECR at scale today, trust in our reliability and uptime, and we will strive to keep improving ECR for customers like them. So ECR, as you know, is a fully managed container registry, which is operated and scaled by AWS, compliant with the OCI and Docker, and natively integrated with AWS container orchestrators in compute. It removes the undifferentiated heavy work that you may have to do to operate, scale a registry. We do work to add value, such as native vulnerability scans, security encryptions, centralized access control, so you don't have to worry about the registry and you can focus on building and running your containerized applications. Over here, just wanted to put up to you how we think about ECR, some of the services we integrate with, and a call out that many customers use ECR for both workloads in AWS and for on-premises and in other clouds as well. This is something we are proud of, a testament to the scale and trust that our customers put in ECR. Each week, customers download over 3 billion images from ECR. Now that we've talked about ECR, let's switch gears to public container software. So public container software is a vital part of the application supply chain. Developers use common software such as operating systems, databases, and add-on components when building and running container images. Much of this software comes from public registries. And then customers optimize use of their public registries. As we talked about before, they make local copies so they can pin their software to it, but now they have to keep it in sync with what's going on in the public registry. They create local copies so they can move it to other regions, so they can scale and pull faster instead of taking a direct dependency on a public registry. And all of this just adds more work and more undifferentiated work into your applications, which defocuses and takes you away from what you really, really need to do. And then what if there are problems? What if you're running in your private networks and you have to keep reaching out to the public internet and there's an access issue, right? What happens when a public registry cannot scale to meet your availability needs or meet you where you're running in different parts of the world? How do you manage impact when rate limits are reduced, right? This is not an easy thing to deal with. It'll cause problems. As we've seen, your builds break, your velocity drops, your apps don't deploy as faster, and ultimately your users have a less than optimal experience, right? And if you dive a little bit deeper, right, the core foundational need for our customers is revealed, and our customers need a way to distribute public container software with reliability and with trust. And when something like this becomes available, they can then build and create software and experiences on top of that. And so, by listening to our customers, I am very, very happy to talk to you today about Amazon ECR Public. Amazon ECR Public is an altogether new registry, yet part of Amazon ECR. It's built on the years of experience operating a container registry at scale for our customers. It is two things, a public registry and a public gallery. The registry has what developers expect, a single global URL for pushes and pulls, anonymous pulls, so you do not have to have an AWS account to use it, a frictionless getting started experience. We will get into that in subsequent slides. The gallery is a discovery portal, a place where anybody can quickly search for container software that's been published, learn more about these images, and get the URL to access it. Both do not require the use of an AWS account. You can find the gallery at gallery.ecr.aws. You can push and pull images to public.ecr.aws. And we're more than excited, I think I've said this before, about what this means and what we will do with these capabilities in the coming years. To that end, I thought it useful to highlight some of the capabilities ECR Public is bringing to the AWS Container Registry. One, we created a new capability for a single simple URL, right? You push and pull, it's agnostic to AWS account or region, yet we'll use IAM when you push so you can manage control. We automatically proxy the push and pull calls to a region. We geo-replicate the images automatically for higher availability. And finally, we cache image layer content using Amazon CloudFront so pulls are fast from anywhere in the world. This is transparent to you, as it should be, when pushing or pulling, right? So you don't have to worry about availability or performance, and you can focus on building and running your applications. ECR Public pricing is in two dimensions, image storage and data transfer on pulls. The image owner is charged for storage. An image requester is charged for data bandwidth. But with the generous free tier, we expect that most, if not all, customers publishing and using will not see a charge. And as you can tell, ECR Public optimizes for our AWS customers by making data bandwidth free on pulls for AWS customers who run on AWS Compute. This means that if you pull the Amazon ECS agent, the Amazon Linux software or public software from an operating system from ECR Public, and you run in any region in the world on AWS, you can pull at scale and you will not see a charge. This is very exciting. I'm excited to talk to you about this because we worked hard to make this easy for you to publish and for you to pull while giving you a path so you can scale up as your applications grow. You'll learn more about this at the pricing page at aws.amazon.com, ECR pricing, and I'd encourage you to go give that a read after we're done. So that was a quick overview about what we're talking about today, Amazon ECR Public. I gave you a high level of what it was. We spoke a little bit about the expanded capabilities, and I described its pricing structure and how we expect you to use it, store with it, and pull from it. Let's now get into some of the core interactions for ECR. Let's start with sharing. These are for developers who create and publish public software to ECR. It's an easy three-step process. You use your AWS account, create a repo, push an image, add some markdown content, and you're done. Anybody in the world discovers your software. We introduced a new API, ECR Public. This keeps your private and your public images safe. So you can control with IAM which accounts can push to your AWS account that owns the public images, right? A push is just as easy as you'd expect. You do an authentication, you get a token, and you do a Docker push. Notice that you're pushing to public.ecr.aws and an alias. An alias is something ECR Public gives every single AWS account when you create your first public repo. You can request for a custom alias so you can highlight your brand a little bit more. Any changes you make are instantly viewable on the gallery. The next pull somebody makes will carry your new content with you. So there's not a delay here. Yet with IAM and with CloudTrail, you have the control and the auditability you're going to need when you're managing the publishing and the pushing of your public images. There are a host of improvements. I put together some screenshots for you. And at the end of this, I encourage you to go sign up. If you don't have an AWS account, if you have one, get in there, click on ECR and give it a go. We've introduced the concept of a registry. Right? We've highlighted the fact that now every AWS account, when they use ECR, gets two registries, a public and a private one. There is a new repository type, public. And we've integrated it into the same management console that you're used to today. You can see your private and your public repositories side by side, yet you control them differently and manage them through APIs differently. You get a global registry URL assigned to you by default. You can ask for a custom alias after you push your first image. You can share a short description. There is markdown content in there. You can tag what type of content your repo will hold, what operating system your images support, and what underlying multi-architectures your images support so that your developers can make better decisions when they pull. The concept of a registry, you can edit your public registry and ask to become a verified account. A verified account is a way that we can highlight to customers that the software you produce is more trusted. And we'll talk about what that means in a later slide. On the pull side, if you're using public images, even easier, search the gallery at gallery.ecr.aws, browse an image detail page, copy the pull URL, do a Docker pull. You don't need to have an AWS account. There is zero friction in getting started here, right? If you do sign up for an AWS account, when you're ready to run in production, when you're ready to use ECR Public at scale, you get 10 times the performance of an anonymous pull, 10 times the limits, still free, right? With 5 terabytes of data transfer to the internet, just by signing in with an AWS account, we think that will serve most public pull needs. That doesn't even count the unlimited bandwidth we already spoke about, right? In the gallery, there's preferred placement for verified accounts content, so you can filter and search for that better. You can look at artifact types of the images. You can look at all the versions that a developer would have published. You can look at last updated to get a sense of freshness, and we will continually work to make the experience easier and better and provide more content so you can make better decisions when choosing your public software. Here are some screenshots of the gallery. And again, give it a try after we're done here. We'd love to know what you think. This gives you some sense of how the markdown and the content that a developer publishing produces in a public repository that then gets displayed in the gallery for anybody to see. Let's switch gears a little bit, maybe dive deeper a little and talk about the architecture of ECR Public. Much of ECR Public is built from what ECR is architected today. Multiple VPCs for security and control, keeping our microservices separate. We run our infrastructure in every AZ in a region with best practices such as different AWS accounts to control blast radius and manage access. We use Elasticsearch to power the public gallery. This is a new capability with the ECR Public. We use Amazon S3 for its reliable underlying storage, as we do today for ECR. And another new capability, we use Amazon CloudFront for a global cache. One thing I'd like to call out is that when a pull occurs, the manifest for the pull is always part of ECR, so it's always the newest manifest there is. And so you do not have to worry about cached data not getting propagated worldwide, but the layers are cached when pulled, especially for popular images, and we expected that to be the case. And so when a new version is published and a manifest changes, your next pull will always get the latest manifest and then go back to your cache. So we expect to continually improve this, take this architecture and put it in more regions, improve our optimizations of our CloudFront cache so we can get better for you. Oh, I'd like to highlight some partners, right? Partners such as Bitnami, Canonical, Hashi, Pulumi, Influx, Data, and Datadog are some of the partners who are working to publish container software in ECR Public. Canonical will be excited to announce the availability of their LTS product line on Amazon ECR Public as well. And we're going to work every day to get more into the gallery. Let's wrap. Let's talk about what's next, and then go from there. To start, as you would have guessed, a number of new capabilities have been introduced with Amazon ECR Public, and we can take some of these capabilities to our private repositories as well. And there are a number of roadmap items on a private repository side, which will start and begin to become valuable, if I may say, on our public registry. Download counts coming extremely soon, something we're going to get you as soon as we can. The idea of a pull-through repository, right? The ability for you to define a repository and state that if an image is not in there, go to an upstream repo in an upstream registry, pull that down, cache it in ECR, and then serve from there until the next version is available in the upstream registry. That works for both private and public repositories. It's high on our roadmap, and you can look for it because we share our roadmap publicly on GitHub, and this is tracked there. We're working on this, right? We really think that there's value in the private to public image interaction for developers who use us for private image builds and then wish to promote something to public. For our customers who pull from ECR Public, but then want to use it as a base layer. And I think we're going to work on a public to private copy image command and button, and a private to public publish image command and button. We need to give our publishers more metrics. As you know, also publicly called out in our roadmap, we are working to do image signing. We're working with the community, with Azure, with Docker, with Red Hat, and with IBM, and the TUF community to do Notary v2, and that will be image signing. We plan to do vulnerability scan enhancements on our private repos, and there's more. So our roadmap is public. Please go there, +1 an issue, open a new feature request, open an issue. This way we know what you want, we know your feedback, and we can grow on this together. Okay, it'd be nice to think about why we did Amazon ECR Public. Recall that we started earlier and I spoke about the trust our customers have in ECR at scale. I spoke about the statistic of how many billions of images are pulled every week. And if you look at that, the main reason we did ECR Public is to meet our customers' need. They've been asking for us. They've been asking for this. They've been asking for us to do this, and this is what we do. We listen to our customers and try and solve their need. They wanted reliability to public image distribution. ECR Public will offer the same SLA as ECR does today, 99.9. This would be a public registry with a SLA that you can take a dependency on. We wanted to improve the developer experience. We wanted to make CI/CD faster. We wanted to keep your velocity improving as you grow. We wanted to give you higher limits, faster polls, so you could deploy from public software better. And we wanted to remove the undifferentiated work, right? Just like we did for your private repositories, we want to operate a distribution service for public container artifacts, so you don't have to worry about that. So you can build with it. And I'm personally very excited to see what collaboration experiences you will build on ECR Public. It is first and foremost an API-based registry. What user experience could you build on top of that? Could you build your own websites? Could you offer different views of application stores? Could you use us as infrastructure for public and private container artifacts? Or what could you build? I think that these are the three core motivations behind why we wanted to do ECR Public. And as we've seen earlier, you can store more than just images with ECR. That comes across with ECR Public as well. Helm charts, OPA bundles, other OCI artifacts. There is a lot the open source community does today. There is a lot the container community does today with different kinds of artifacts that they could begin to leverage us for and then go big. I'm going to close with a call for action, right? When it comes to public container software, we need to work to make this better, right? For those developers who publish, I'd like to highlight, this is non-exclusive distribution, right? If you are in the business of producing software and producing a base image that others will use, if you're in the open source community and you want to increase the use of your images, the more places you put it in, the better it gets for people who adopt it, right? With ECR Public, you can reach AWS customers better, right? With our data transfer limits that we've given for our AWS customers, if they're going to pull a public image from ECR Public, it makes sense for your images to be there. So my call to action for you is publish on ECR Public. Tell us what we need to do better, but publish. And for our customers, and for those who operate using a public registry, who pull, sign up for an AWS account, and then keep doing what you do. There is no reason to do anything but have an AWS account and get 10x your rate with instead of an anonymous pull, right? You can pull at scale, and if you run an AWS compute, you'll get the unlimited free bandwidth. And as we grow together and as we get better at this, ask your vendors, ask the community that you depend on to also publish in ECR Public. So with that, thank you. Thank you for giving us your time. And thank you for listening to Amazon ECR Public and the public gallery and what we wanted to work and how we're thinking about enhancing our registry.